Howdy, folks. I'm Benevolent Beach, breezily blowing past blustery beaches.
I'm Amber.
And here are more trees to blow across other trees.
Well, the one was the beach is like this, the sandy kind.
Oh, yeah.
Or some are not sandy, some are rocky, but you know.
Yeah, so am I the beach or am I the tree?
You're the leaf, you're the beach leaf, and you're blustering across, so like the tree leaf thing, blustering across like a rocky beach.
So I'm sand and I'm blowing across the beach.
No, because you're a leaf. Sand can't be a leaf.
Yeah, just leave me alone.
So rude.
I'm just kidding. I need to throw a leaf joke in there somewhere. Let's get started. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Will I Be a Jerk? My friends want to do no electricity. Will I be the jerk? I have friends that I don't see that often and have plans at my house. Apparently, they are fasting from electricity. We had plans prior to do a weekend at the Renaissance Festival. However, they are now fasting from electricity for a week during their time at my place. I want to say no because I think that it's strange to put conditions on coming when it's my home and I'm inviting them to it, especially when the plans were made in advance to a fast. They want no electric bulbs, no digital displays, no phones, and no TV. Also, they are planning on no navigation to get to my house, which means that they will be 1 hour late, knowing my friends and their skills. My guess is that they're thinking, oh, this will be a fun thing to do. But they're going to be at the house with my wife, who never signed up for that either. Is it just me, or does this seem entitled? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, I don't think you're in the wrong. It does seem entitled to expect you not to use electricity in your own home. And your wife also, who's like, they're not even her friends, it seems like. So I think it's one thing to ask, but I think you absolutely are well within your right to say, no, sorry, my wife and I are still going to use electricity. You can pop a tent in our backyard if you don't want electricity.
So I think what OP should do is agree and say, yes, we will do no electricity. And when they show up at the house, say, oh, I'm sorry, this isn't electricity, this is magic. And then continue to use their electricity. I'm a great and powerful wizard. That's how I have lights on. These are my magical objects. So enjoy your fast without electricity. We're doing magic instead.
Like, it's such a big imposition because so much runs on electricity. Not just the lights, but, also like hot water,
Fridges.
Fridge, stove. Like, you just expect Opie to unplug the fridge and let all the food go bad.
Well, they said, I think they mean within reason, of course, right?
Well, I'm sure, but...
Because they didn't mention specifically, like, the refrigerator or freezer or any of that kind of stuff. But, yeah, I mean, certainly... There's going to be the humming refrigerator in the corner, right? So it's not going to be no electricity. I do think that it's entitled for them to ask this, though, because I don't think that it's wrong for them to ask. I think it's wrong for them to demand.
Right. It's entitled to expect Opie to cave to this.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And I don't remember Corn says, not the jerk. They just expect you to let all the food in your fridge go bad. Also, how are they getting to your place? And OP replies, car, exactly my point. And I don't remember Corn says, are they really unaware about the battery, alternator, computers in the car? And OP replies, I don't think they understand that starting a stove, you need electricity. Well, I mean, that wasn't really what the person's question was, but I mean, like, yeah, there's a lot of things that require electricity.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Refusing to Offer Any Help to My Uncles and Cousins with the Family Business? My grandfather passed away a few months ago. He had his own business that was quite successful. I, a 28-year-old female, was raised by my grandparents after my dad, their youngest son, died young. When I turned 16, my grandfather brought me to work with him, and he integrated me into the business. I adored that man. He trained me in all aspects of the business, and once I turned 18, he hired me full on, and I became his shadow. My uncles and some of my cousins worked for the business also, but none of them took it very seriously. They very much treated it like they were the spoiled owner's sons/grandsons. They were never really well known or well liked in the company. I was known. I had a great relationship with the people who worked for my grandfather. I also had done every job there at some point. I cleaned, I ran errands for others, I managed, I hired people. I was the person he asked to step up during his illness. I basically ran the business for almost 2 years. Then his will showed another side of my grandfather, one that left me very hurt. My uncles and all of my male cousins, even the ones who have nothing to do with the business and would likely never work there, were all given a percentage of the business. I was given nothing related to the business, all because I was a granddaughter, which was even stated in the will. I broke down when we were told the contents of the will. My uncles and cousins were very dismissive and told me that I shouldn't be so upset because I was just a girl after all, and that with me getting married soon, I would clearly focus on having my own family. They said owning any percentage of the business is for men. I should have known how my grandfather felt. I made the decision to resign from the company following this. At first, they didn't care. Some of my uncles even looked relieved to be getting rid of me. But now that all the men are trying to run it, they realize that they know nothing and nobody who works for them likes them. Apparently, the employees asked them about me. I actually had some of the people that I work closely with reach out to me and said that they missed me and wanted me to keep in touch with them. The business is suffering because my uncles and cousins are clueless. They have asked me to come back to help them. I'm working retail right now while I figure out what I want to do with my life. I always thought that I would work for my grandfather's company until I retired, but that's not going to happen. I told my uncles and my cousins no, and they asked me to at least consult with them so that they can get some help during this rocky period of business. And again, I told them no. They told me that they need my help and that I should want to help keep the family business running. I told them that I had given so much to it already, but they, along with my grandfather, in his death, made it very clear that I'm not valuable to the company because I'm a woman and I won't save their butts just because they asked me to after showing how little they appreciated me. They accused me of being foolish and childish. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Absolutely not the jerk. What your grandfather did was really cruel, and what your uncles and cousins are doing is doubly cruel. And if they don't want to share the business with you, then they don't get your expertise and knowledge. It sounds like they just want to exploit you because you're a woman, and that's not cool.
Yeah, I think that OP deserved like 50% of the business, right? She was the one who was essentially running the business up until when her grandfather passed away.
Well, that's the thing. Like, he trusted only her to run the business because she was the only one who was going to do it right. So, like, what a slap in the face to be like, oh, but you're a woman. You're going to get married and stuff. So, like, you don't get the business.
Yeah, I really think that OP should actually set out and start a business of their own and just hire the people who leave the job once they find out that she started her own business, right? Because she has enough, power here, I'm sure, to be able to persuade some of the individuals who's worked for her to come to her business here, right?
Right, if she can get the resources to do that. Unfortunately, starting a business often comes with startup costs, and if she got absolutely nothing from the will, she might not have the finances to do that.
Yeah, she might not. It might be a difficult situation, but she may also be able to, right? I mean, it's a situation that only she can answer at that point in time, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Or joining a competitor business or something like that, which would not help family relations, but it sounds like the family's a jerk anyway.
Yeah, I think that the grandfather's actions here were terribly cruel. I think that they should have really given her what she was owed in that respect, that she helped out with this business. She really wanted it to be successful, and she put a lot of her heart and soul into this business, and no wonder she's hurt right now. If OP wants to consult with them, then she should charge some ridiculous, absurd amount of money. If they want her to come back, then she needs to demand at least 50% of the business or more, right?
Exactly. And if they're not going to agree to their terms, that's on them. They're the ones who are running it into the ground because they're too selfish and prideful.
Yeah. So if OP got half of the business, then I would say go for it. Then you can go ahead and go back to that. But if they refuse, then basically just tell them, too bad, so sad. I hope you enjoy watching the business fall apart. Just hold them to the fire. That's all I can say. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Death CVLT says, I'm sorry that you're going through so many losses at the same time. Losing a grandfather, not only as actual death, but the death of your relationship that you thought you had with him, losing your job, and losing the future that you thought you would have. That's all really hard, and I hope you're able to give yourself some space to mourn. Do not go back to work for them ever. Some folks are saying only go back if you get 51% ownership. That would be an absolute minimum to accept. However, one, there's basically no way that they will agree to that, given their views on women, and you in particular. And two, even if you did manage it, you still would be dealing with them and their toxicity every single day. It wouldn't be worth it. Giving in to demand to be respected instead of exploited would be emasculating to them. They would try to punish you for emasculating them one way or another. You have a lot of skills and experience from the last few years of your work that you did at your grandfather's business. You can turn that into an incredible resume and CV and bring those skills somewhere that your work would be respected instead of denigrated and taken for granted. Heal your heart, your body, and your soul, and leave these men behind you. And OP replies, yeah, it wouldn't happen. I already know that they would refuse, and they would offer me an insulting amount of money to help them save the business. And offensively PC says, not the jerk. I'm having a hard time believing that the will was drafted by an attorney. Said, business is for me, so exclude the granddaughter. No lawyer would ever consult his client to write that in his will, which I have drafted many. And OP replies, it wasn't. It was my grandfather who wrote the will himself. And the Dark was there first says, how do you know this? Was he in his right mind toward the end? It's interesting that he never showed any misogyny while he was around, but the sentiment expressed in the will is strong with the heirs. Was the will registered anywhere or just found afterwards? Was it properly witnessed by non-interested parties? And OP replies, I know it was witnessed. I also know that he talked about writing his will to me once or twice. He had mentioned not wanting a lawyer to draft it up, so he did it and made any updates. He was in his right mind up until the end. So yeah, I mean, it just sounds like he was not a great person.
Mm-hmm.
Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to babysit my niece because my sister keeps making passive-aggressive comments about my child-free life? I'm a 29-year-old female, and I was certain that I did not want to have any children. It was not because I disliked them, but because I liked my life the way that it used to be, quiet, organized, and focused on my career and hobbies. My sister, Emily, is a 31-year-old female. She has a 4-year-old girl, Lily, and simply loves being a mom. So we had a very different life during our childhood and youth. Yet, up until recently, this never became an issue for us. Over the last few months, Emily has been dropping comments about how selfish it is that I don't want kids. She'll say things like, must be nice having all that free time, or I could never ever think about how boring my life would be if I didn't have Lily. I tried to brush it off and figured it was just a stress talking since raising a toddler is not easy, but it started getting under my skin. Last week, she asked me to watch Lily so she and her husband could go out for their anniversary dinner. I said yes, partly because my niece is adorable, but also seemingly a very nice gesture. However, all through the week, Emily made several snide comments about not knowing what real responsibility is, how I would, quote, never understand what it meant to put someone else first. Then, the night before I was supposed to babysit, Emily texted me and said, don't worry, I know this is going to be such a huge sacrifice for you, giving up your precious free time. That was the final blow. I told her that if she really thought that I was such a selfish person, perhaps I wouldn't be the best choice for babysitting Lily anyways. I explained to her that there is someone else that should watch her. Emily erupted into a full-blown fury, calling me selfish again, and told me that I was somehow punishing her for being honest. She exclaimed that she could not even comprehend how I could not understand what it feels like to be a parent because she simply needed a break for one night. Now my mother jumped up to say that I should have just let it go because family helps family. Honestly, I'm rather sick of always having to defend myself and my actions. I love my niece very much, but I do not feel that I should have to suffer passively in which my sister treats me. My mother thinks that I'm being petty, and petty indeed it might seem, but I believe that I have every right to set some boundaries. Am I the jerk for refusing to babysit after all this, or should I just have sucked it up and done it for the sake of family peace? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I mean, your sister is being incredibly cruel. Like, this is not honest. This is her judging you and repeating. She's jealous of the life you have. She's jealous of the freedoms you have. And so instead of finding some constructive way to deal with her jealousy, she's taking it out on you, the person who was going to help her. I think Opie handled it perfectly well. Like, if she thinks you're so selfish, are you really going to be a great role model for her daughter? Which is not to say that Opie is selfish or wouldn't
Yeah,
be a good
yeah.
role model, but like that line of reasoning, I think was spot on.
Yeah, I think that their sister here is, I don't know what their problem is here. I think that maybe they need to go into therapy and potentially talk to somebody because they're making their problems into OP's problems here. And that's not fair to OP. I think that maybe she's having a rough time, maybe she's having a lot of stress, but she shouldn't be taking that stress out on OP.
Mm-hmm.
And OP was doing her a favor, and I think that OP needs to remind her that she's doing her a favor, right? And like her passive aggressive comments here are just uncalled for. They really are.
Well, they are. Like, and why would you want to help someone who's constantly belittling you and acting like your life is worthless because you chose a different path than them?
Yeah.
Again, sister is probably, under a lot of stress and frustrated by that, but there are lots of other things she can do. She can journal, she can do therapy, she can vent to her friends. But if you're going to be rude and belittle someone, don't expect them to help you.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the only thing that OP might have been able to do differently here is if they had said to their sister, if they keep this up, then they're not going to babysit their niece.
I mean, honestly, I think it was better that OP just put the foot down now, so that because sisters would, if OP caved now, sister would still keep doing it. So
Yeah, I mean, that's all I'm saying is like I think maybe having a little bit of a discussion about how OP feels that their sister is, saying these passive aggressive things. So I think that it might have been worth having a conversation before it reached this, blow up point to talk to her and say, I don't really like how you're talking to me about this. So, but that's all I could fault OP here for.
and I mean, if mom is so upset about this, she can do the babysitting.
Yeah, maybe mom should do the babysitting. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What do you call a feud between celebrities?
I call a feud between celebrities a celebratory knockdown dragout.
Star Wars.
Or that. And I have licorice spice. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy special Sunday, folks. I hope your Sunday is off to a special start. And folks, you know what makes it special? You do, and Amber does too.
And Brian does too.
And Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on doing favors for other people.
Don't belittle and mistreat the people who do favors for you.
I agree. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.